If you've ever thought, I know lots of scales, so why are my improvisations, my lead playing, why is it not sounding more musical? Then this episode is for you, because knowing a scale and making music with it are two very different things. So hi guys, I am Paul Andrews and welcome back to the Beginner Guitar Academy podcast, or welcome to the podcast if you're a brand new listener. In this episode 268, we're going to be talking about how to jam musically with one scale. So throughout the whole of January 2026, we are looking at jamming. It is jamming January. So that could be whether you are out there playing with other people, perhaps you jam with your friend, or it could be you're just playing at home, jamming with a backing track. It does not matter. What we're going to talk about is relevant to both level of guitar player. Now, last week's episode, we talked about why jams go nowhere. Today, we're fixing one of the biggest reasons that happens, the idea that learning more scales is what makes you sound musical. And spoiler alert, it isn't. Before we do dive into that, though, I do have a little bit of news for you guys. So whether you are a member of Beginner Guitar Academy, my online guitar school, or just a listener to the podcast and part of our online Beginner Guitar Academy community, then I want to make you aware that we are running a practice-a-thon throughout January. Now, practice-a-thon, the idea is very simple. You practice throughout January, you practice ideally every day, or you practice more than you've practiced before. Little challenge just to help you kickstart the year with getting your guitar playing rocking. Now, if you haven't already, head over to bgapodcast.com January, and you'll be able to sign up there for the January practice-a-thon. When you do that, I'll send you my practice tracker where you can keep track of your practice throughout January. You also receive emails, motivation with me, little practice tips, and that kind of thing. You can also join our charity part of this as well. So we're raising money for a charity called Jessie's Fund, which is a UK charity that helps children with complex needs. And it's a fantastic charity. That's hence why we chose it. And they help the children through music. One of the ways they started out was putting music teachers in hospices for children to help children communicate with their parents and vice versa. Obviously, when language fails, music can often fill that gap. So it's a really important charity, and we're raising money. Now, you can start up your own challenge page, so you can get your friends and family to sponsor you as you work through the month. Or if you've got a little bit of spare money in January, you can just sponsor me or one of the members of Beginner Guitar Academy that have started up their own page. Any money is obviously welcomed and received, and that'll go straight to the charity and help them obviously continue and support children with their needs. So go and check that out at bjpodcast.com/charity. Again, however you want to take part, if you just want to download this practice tractor, have a bit of accountability, have me send you some emails, that's amazing. Or if you want to join us in raising some money for Jessie's Fund, that's brilliant too. The other thing I want to talk about is just for Beginner Guitar Academy members, we have a First Steps Jam coming up on January the 11th, 8 p.m. GMT, 3 p.m. EST, and 12 p.m. PST. Now, this is going to be on Zoom. I'm going to be going through step by step how to jam. Now, this will be along to backing tracks. I'll be talking about how to play in different keys. I'll be talking about how to get your solo sounding more musical with phrasing, rhythm, space, repetition, the things we're actually going to talk about in this week's episode. We're going to put it into practice. You'll be muted. You can turn off your camera so no one can see or hear you. This has been something that's come up when I've suggested this to students. They're like, whoa, I'm not ready to do that. No one's going to hear you, so do not worry about it. And the idea is you shouldn't feel like you're probably ready enough. I'm going to walk you through how to do it. That's going to be live over Zoom. Just hop on Zoom and I'll walk you through that. Now, I'll be sending out some emails in the next couple of days with the links. You can join me live, and then hopefully I'll see you then, guys. Now, if you can't join me live, I will be recording it, and I'll put this in the live section of Beginner Guitar Academy so you can catch up with the recording at a later date. So that's all the news I have for you this week. So let's dive now straight into this week's content. So how to jam musically using just one scale. So the first thing we need to do here is bust the myth. Now, the myth I want to clear up is once I know more scales, my solos will sound better. And you see this all the time where people are like, I'm going to learn all 5 minor pentatonic shapes and then I'm going to be an amazing guitar player. I'm going to go through my modes. I'm going to learn every scale there is, and then I'll just be amazing at lead guitar playing. Now, unfortunately, that's not how it works. Now, scales are just a tool. Think of it like you could have, the best garage in the world with every tool known to man, the best saw, the best screwdrivers, the best this and that. That doesn't mean you're going to be the best at building a house. Just you've got all the tools that perhaps you need to do it. You've got to learn how to use those tools. And that's the difference between an amazing guitar player who plays amazing solos and someone that knows all the stuff but doesn't. And we're actually going to go step by step through what that difference is. It's not just the scales they know, it's how they use those scales. And we're going to walk you through the musical ways to do that. We're going to talk about phrasing, rhythm, space, and repetition. Those 4 parts that are going to make you a better lead guitar player. And the cool thing about this is you can practice all this just with one scale, even just part of a scale. You do not need to know every scale. And I was saying this to a class I was teaching the other day. We're going through minor pentatonics, and we've been doing that for a little while. I was like, well, how many of these shapes do you know of the 5? And they're like, oh, definitely pound 1, but I don't think I know really any of the others. It's like, well, that's cool then, because a lot of the favourite guitar players you like, your Claptons, your Gilmours, they quite often only stay in 1, 2, or 3 patterns. That's it. They're not playing across all 5. What makes them sound great is the stuff I just talked about. The phrasing, the rhythm, the space, the repetition, what we're going to go through now. So it's actually quite an advantage if you don't know many scales, because you're not going to be wandering around the neck. You're going to be staying in one place. So limiting yourself to one scale is actually quite powerful. Number one, it's going to remove your decision overload. You know, having too many notes to play with means you're kind of, what note should I play next? You're constantly trying to move and constantly trying to create. We don't want to do that. Staying with one scale or limiting yourself is actually going to force you as well to listen. It's going to encourage you to be creative, because once you've limited yourself to a few notes, and actually we talked about this in last week's episode a little bit. In this episode, we're going obviously in a bit more detail. It forces you to be creative, because it doesn't take long till you've kind of run through all the combinations you've played with those notes previously. You've kind of exhausted your creative tank. So that forces you then to start thinking about new ideas and new ways to play them. So that's where we want to go through here. So again, doesn't matter if you're playing along to backtracks by yourself, doesn't matter if you start to jam with other people, this is really going to help you. So the 4 musical skills are repetition, and let's go through one at a time. So repetition. So if you play something you like it, play it again. It's not boring. That's a musical idea or musical motif. You play it over again. Music becomes memorable through repetition. If you think about a tune, you might find yourself whistling a song or humming it or singing in your head. If it's normally a hook or something that's grabbed you, it's normally a little melodic device, something that's repetitive, something that's short. Think of the most classic riffs of all time, Smoke on the Water. Classic riff, only a few notes, super repetitive. Think of some of the greatest solos, like Sweet Child of Mine. You see that? I played this phrase, it's then repeated. Slight variation, repeated. And then just different ending. So great idea. It's a good idea, but a great example there of how you can use that idea of repetition in a song. It just works really well. So repetition is really, really important. The next thing is space. So in music, you're not just always playing. This is akin to like talking to someone, having a conversation, and them just talking at you. There's too many words. You just get lost and you can't remember what they're saying, and it's just overwhelmed. Same if you're playing a solo. You don't want to be playing consistently all the time. You want to leave gaps. That's going to help define phrases. It's going to help the music breathe. Helps you as a performer as well to take a bit of time to kind of settle in a little bit, think what you're going to do next, and gives you space to get a bit more clarity. So really important to have space when you're playing. The next thing is rhythm changes. So a lot of people will play a solo. They might take some breaks, but they might find their solos very much rhythmically similar all the way through. When if you start changing rhythm, straight away sounds a bit more interesting. Still playing the same notes. Changing rhythm creates instant variety and makes it sound a lot more interesting. The next thing, dynamics. Now, this is the volume you are playing at. So you can play softly. You can play loudly. You can back off. You can build up. Dynamics alone can turn a real simple idea into something very expressive just by changing the volume. Again, it's one of those ideas which sounds so simple, but you find a lot of people ignore it and don't actually do it. You can hear then just the expressive nature of the notes that I was playing there really changed. So I went really soft and then really dug in. Massive difference, but again, a really simple concept. So they're the 4 things I really want you to focus on. So if you're new and thinking, I can't do this, yes, you can. All we need, again, is a few notes. So if you know a pentatonic scale, we can use that. If you know a major scale, we can use that. Even just 3 or 4 notes, we can use that. That's all we need. You don't have to be level 3, 4, 5 guitar player. You don't have to be playing a number of years to be able to start doing this stuff. And to show you, I want to kind of show you exactly how to do this step by step. So first thing, we want a backing track. We want to choose a small area of our scale, and we'll start creating these short little phrases. We're then going to repeat it, just like I showed you in the slash solo a minute ago, and then looking at changing the rhythm. Really simple. The idea here is to make it really, really simple. No millions of notes, no rushing, just exploring those notes and doing it for 5 minutes without stopping. We said this in last week's episode, so when you don't stop, it pushes you to be creative. So we really want to try and do that. So this is exactly why we spend so much time on phrasing and feel in lead playing. It's not about how much you know, it's about how well you use what you know. And this kind of focused jamming fits perfectly into short practice sessions. So again, if you are doing the practice-a-thon, do this as your little 5-minute practice. Put on the timer, whack on the backing track, and just noodle around with these ideas. So let's go through this right now, and I'll show you exactly what I mean. So I've got a cool little backing track here. Just one off YouTube. I'm going to put all this in less notes for you. Now, the scale we're going to use, let's quickly define what we're going to actually play. We're going to do minor pentatonic. It's an awesome scale. It's the most used guitar scale, so it's definitely one we want to pick on. We're going to start with the A minor pentatonic. It's one quite often people do. And we're going to just take 3 notes. We're going to take 7th fret on the D string. We're going to take 5th fret on the G. And then 7th fret on the G. Just those 3 notes. You might be familiar. I did put a 4th note in there. We're just going to do the 3. So we're going to take those 3 notes. Now the idea, we've got our small part of the scale now. We're going to do a backing track, and this is what we're going to play over. So nice kind of groove, nice laid back, not too mean. We've got our 3 notes. Start by playing those over top, just get a feel of it. Repeating it once you start getting a phrase. So let's get a phrase. Maybe just those 3 notes in order. So we're just going to go 7, 5, 7. There's my phrase. Okay, so we've established that. So now let's start thinking about changing rhythm. You can see I'm starting now to develop that phrase a little bit more as well. Repeating notes. Side beats some dynamics we are now playing louder, playing quieter. Nice lot of space there. Quite happy with that. Can bring some new techniques. Slides. Hammer-ons, pull-offs. Cheat and put some bends. Now I'm saying chinks, now I'm obviously bending out pitch. We could actually bend up there. 5th fret to the 7th, so we're not cheating. And we start putting that together. You can see just exploring, just playing around, having some fun. And once you've got that, then we can start moving out. We can start bringing extra notes from our scale. And then only once you've really exhausted that shape, then start bringing the other shapes from the minor pentatonic scale. And then we can start moving around. But again, this is all about taking one scale. It's all about taking one idea, developing it, repeating it, changing rhythm, building on top of it, and helping you develop your lead guitar playing. So hopefully that makes sense. Again, just go for those ideas we put on the backing track. This will be in the lesson notes. If you go to bgapodcast.com/268, that'll take you straight to this episode's show notes. And 268 just being the numbers, not spelt out. There you'll see the back track you download. I'll put the sheet up there for the scale as well, but it's just going to be 7 on the D, 5 on the G, 7 on the G as well. Just start those 3 notes, but I will put the whole sheet up there when you're ready to then start building out of that. Create a short phrase. So I'm just doing the notes in order. Repeat it to establish it, then start changing up the rhythm. And you should then start to find your lead playing improving. And it's amazing how, again, something so simple can have a real big impact. So there we go, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed this week's episode. In next week's episode, we're going to zoom out and look at the roles in a jam. So even when you're playing on your own, because great jamming isn't always about soloing, it's about knowing when to lead, when to support, and when to listen. So that is what we're going to talk about. Now, I've recorded the video for this episode as well, so you can head over again to the podcast website, bgapodcast.com, to check that out. I'll put it on YouTube as well. All the resources will be in the show notes. And I think that's us done this week then, guys. So have a fantastic week. Remember, one scale is more than enough. It's just about using it musically. So until next week, keep practicing, and I'll chat to you next week.